This is the moon, covered in vast empty land and endless stretches of nothing but rock. One day, humanity might have to live here, but what would a moon civilization even look like? Well, today I want to answer that, and so I'm going to cover this entire world in one of the biggest civilizations ever built in Minecraft. With huge cities to house an entire population, giant sci-fi stadiums, biopod nature reserves, overcrowded housing districts, and hopefully even an IKEA, to make it feel more like Earth. In case that wasn't enough, I'm building this entire thing in just 24 hours. This whole civilization should be built by tomorrow. That's crazy. It also means that I should probably get going right away. And I think the best place to begin would be with the roads and the layout. This area right here is going to be in the middle of the entire civilization, being the capital. This will work as a main hub where most businesses will have offices, which will be in giant skyscrapers. The tallest building on the moon will also be located here, inspired by the Burj Khalifa. In fact, I want to use Dubai as a main inspiration for the city, along with a more generic sci-fi industrial kind of vibe. But before I keep going, I should probably answer the most important question. Why? Every civilization needs a purpose, a story behind it. If not, the end result will just look really confused and messy. When I built this Atlantis kingdom, every block I placed linked back to the theme of water or wealth. Or for this city that I built during my last 24-hour challenge, it was all about having a realistic infrastructure. So with all of that in mind, the story behind this civilization is that it's the first ever city built on the moon, fully focused around housing as many people as possible. To make that possible, I'm going to split the entire thing into zones, with some focused around housing and others focused around other important things to maintain a society. All of the zones will be linked to the main capital using long, winding highways. Some of these roads are thousands of blocks long. This area over here will be the main residential zone, where most people will live. Housing here will be split into different districts, all divided by class. District 1 will house the richest in mansions, while District 3 will house the poorest, in very compact apartments. You might notice that I've built each district's platform in the number of its class, as I really want to reinforce the class divide, just because it seems so sci-fi and dystopian. Moving to the opposite side of the map, I want to mark out where the entertainment zone will be. This is going to be the most fun part of the civilization, heavily inspired by Las Vegas. There will be loads of hotels, as well as casinos, stadiums, and even a Topgolf. Hopefully Shovel and Mogswamp should be online later to build some stuff in this zone. In fact, I'll be inviting a ton of top building creators to help out all around the civilization as we go. For now though, let's also mark down where the nature zone will be. This is basically just where a bunch of plants taken from Earth will be preserved. It will be a great place to relax if you're homesick. There will also be a giant prison zone over here for any criminals to be kept in. I don't really want to do any foundation work over here yet though, as I'm really bored of building roads right now. But just for reference, there will also be a factory zone over here for produce to be created in, as well as an airport zone over here for anybody flying on or off the moon. This is going to be called the MoonPort, and it's going to be absolutely giant. Really quickly, I want to tie everything together by adding a grid of smaller roads that wrap around the entire civilization. These should just help to reduce any traffic jams. I've quickly just carved them into the terrain to give them a slightly more sci-fi look, and just because it was quicker to build this way. For any really deep parts of the terrain, I've just built some quick tunnels to drive through. Looking at this in game, you can get an idea of just how giant this is going to be. Especially if I lower my render distance down to a normal amount, you can barely see anything. Even just the capital city alone is too big to fully load in. The sightlines in this world are going to be so cool once it's done though. The highways look so impossibly big. I'm really starting to worry now that I might have been slightly too ambitious with the layout, especially as we only have 16 hours left, so I should probably call for some help. This is my army of builders. Paid over $4,000, these are some of the top Minecraft builders ever, and this is only a handful of them. They'll only be online to help me build for the next 15 hours. So we really need to rush. They've split into groups, all working on different zones around the civilization. That way, each area will have its own kind of personality. There's not too much to see yet, but it's really exciting to see the early foundations going into place. Like the layout for all of the houses here in the poorest residential zone. In the capital, they've already started on the main tower, which is going to go all the way to the maximum build height. I'll come back and check on everything later, but first I want to build some key locations, starting with the most important, a McDonald's. This will be located in the entertainment district, where a couple of builders are already building some hotels and casinos. Easily, this will be the most fun part of the civilization, being a whole zone designed to just relax and have fun, which is why it needs a McDonald's. This isn't any McDonald's though. I actually modeled the design around the world's largest McDonald's, which is located in Florida. I thought that if a McDonald's was going to be on the moon, they'd build a pretty big one. Especially if it was the only one on the entire moon, as it might get pretty busy. Here's the fun part though, I don't want to leave it as a regular McDonald's. Instead, I want to give it a sci-fi redesign to turn it into MoonDonald's. I basically just changed some of the colours around and added some pipes and iron bars to make it more futuristic, while still very clearly being a McDonald's. I don't want to do too much or it will lose its entire identity. Another fun location that I want to build in this area is a Topgolf. You can find these in most major cities, including in Vegas and Dubai, so I thought it would be perfect to add. I really wanted to mimic this image that I saw online, where you can see a skyline in the horizon while you're golfing, so I built it facing the capital, which should offer amazing views once everything is finished. Like any good Topgolf, I added loads of holes in various colours, with small flags marking each. As it's the moon, the flags probably shouldn't be waving, so let me fix that. I've even added some metal bars onto the back of each using some trapdoors, which just look like supports to hold the flags in place so they don't just flop down. This Topgolf looks pretty cool. However, across the road, what's probably the biggest build in the entire civilization is being worked on as we speak. My friend Squeaky Juice is working on building this giant stadium. He built one for my last city, which looked crazy, but I've challenged him to somehow take it up a level this time, if that's even possible. Do you have any idea of how?
The only thing better than a young stadium is 2 young stadiums.
So you're gonna build 2?
Hopefully.
Good luck. I don't know if that's actually going to be possible, but I'll check up on the stadium later. For now, I want to see what else has been finished while I've been building. The MoonPort is looking so much bigger than I realized it would be. The nature zone is looking really cool. It has a very sci-fi style to it, which I really like the look of. There's even interior being worked on inside some of the domes, which looks really vibrant. I'm quite worried about the capital city though. While the main tower is looking awesome, there's still so many skyscrapers to build. That's probably because most of the builders are working on the residential zones. Zone 1 hasn't been started yet, and Zone 2 has only just started progress. However, Zone 3 is completely finished. This zone is actually based heavily on the Kowloon walled city, which is a really dystopian real-life city that was built in Hong Kong. It was one of the most densely packed cities of all time, where over 30,000 people lived in one tight block of buildings, very similar to this. As chaotic as it was, it had a strange, unique beauty to it. There are no proper streets or roads, instead just tiny paths to walk down and hidden, overgrown areas to explore. My friend SludaBuilds actually posted an entire video about the Kowloon walled city, so I'd really recommend checking it out. And speaking of Sluda,
Mango, this project is massive. I have no idea how you're gonna pull this off, but I can't wait to see it.
he offered to help out, and so I've asked him to build absolutely anything he wants in the capital, seeing as we're a bit behind over there.
I started out by sketching a few ideas. I was trying to find a shape with a cool silhouette that would look nice in the skyline, but still fit in next to the more rigid concrete buildings in the capital. I ended up settling on this concept of a hard concrete shell for most of the building, with big curved glass portions bulging out of the cracks. It felt like a nice balance between a more structured form and something a bit more fluid and futuristic.
The civilization is finally starting to come together, with some areas quite close to being finished. Some parts, however, haven't even been started, including the prison zone. I'm going to try and build the entire zone by myself, and I'm going to do it as quickly as possible as I still want to build a lot of other things. The prison is going to be huge, as like the MoonDonald's, it's the only one on the entire moon. Because I have so much land to cover, I don't want to just build a regular prison, as it would take ages. Instead, this is going to be a very strange prison. First, I laid down some giant platforms. One will be the transport area, while the others will be prison yards, where people are kept. My idea is that the prison cells will be in giant magnetic cubes, with one prisoner per cube. Once you're loaded into your cube, you'll be picked up by a giant crane in the transport area and moved over to the prison yard where you'll remain until your sentence is over. All I really have to do now is give the platform some very basic texturing, and then I can just paste down all the assets we just built all over the place. Let's even add a couple of giant cranes, as I'm really happy with how those look. I absolutely crammed in as many cell cubes as I could to make it look like it's overflowing. There's even these landing platforms for new cells to be taken from and returned to. With the prison in place, the whole civilization now feels so much more dystopian. We're really starting to run out of time. I think I'm going to need a miracle to get this finished on time.
Yo, what's up, Mango? Need some help?
Let's have a build battle. 1 hour each to build the biggest tower possible.
Alright, let's do it. Okay, small, simple tower. Small, simple tower. Small, simple... dang it. I did not keep that promise.
I'm so doomed. I'm modeling my tower around the CN Tower in Toronto. I thought it'd be a really cool landmark for the entertainment district to have. Challenging Shovel to a building competition is a very good marker that I'm extremely sleep deprived. I've added so much detail that I would never normally add, just because of how much pressure there is. It's only been 30 minutes, but I think I'm gonna call it there, as I think I'm ruining the build by over-detailing at this point. Shovel might be done too, so let me check on him.
Yeah, I'm gonna need more time. I may have accidentally built too much.
It's looking crazy though. Take all the time you need. I'll go work on some other areas and then come back to you when you're done. Good luck. I've been told that the MoonPort is finished, so let's go check on it. This area is absolutely giant. The car park alone is bigger than some of the other zones. There's so much to see here, however it's missing one tiny thing. Spaceships. My friend Flores has put together a ton of vehicles that we can use all around the civilization. For now though, we just need these spaceships. We can paste them down all over the place on the runways. I really want it to look alive. Let's even put some in the sky around the MoonPort, and in some other random spots. Another area that's been finished is the factory. This was put together really quickly by a group of builders, going from being an empty plot of land to a thriving factory and farming zone in record time. While this spot is perfect for farming and factory production, the only thing it's missing is mining equipment, so that the workers can harvest resources from the moon itself. But luckily for me, my friend Jake Kelton is an absolute legend with redstone. You've probably seen his work before, as he's created a lot of videos which have redefined buildstone, especially with his moving redstone fan design, which you see everywhere now.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick.
It turns out though, redstone doesn't work on this server. So instead of making a functioning mining machine, he's instead built an absolutely giant excavator. It doesn't work, but it looks incredibly cool. It's kind of just in the middle of nowhere right now, so I'm going to really quickly build a dig site with a big quarry. I don't have much time left, but luckily digging a big hole in the ground isn't too time consuming. I've moved the excavator just for now, so that I don't accidentally delete it with the terrain. I'm not very good at making terrain, so I'm just giving it my best shot. Now I just want to add a ton of deep slate rocks all around it. We can mix in some different ores as well, which are currently being mined. Lastly, let's add back in the excavator, as well as a couple more as they look so cool. We can even add some trucks too. Hopefully Jake approves of the quarry. This whole half of the map with the factory, quarry and MoonPort is now finished. But what definitely isn't finished is the capital. Even with there being so much to do, it's looking amazing. The skyscrapers here have so much character. It's going to look insane once it's packed with them. To try and fill up space and make it feel more alive, I'm going to build a monorail system, which will wrap all the way around the capital. We can start by designing a really basic monorail station. I want to keep it pretty small and compact so that it doesn't take away from the buildings around it. I want it to just blend in with the city. For the roof, I'm going to use copper to give it a more metallic feeling, with a slight arch in the shape. Now let's just copy the entire station, and we can paste it over here, and here, and here. And with our 4 stations in place, let's connect them all to one another with one long rail on either track. They look really unsafe, but I don't have time to smooth it out. I hate building vehicles, but I'll even try and throw a pretty basic monorail together. I'm keeping it really simplistic and sci-fi. I mean, I don't hate it. We can add a couple of monorails onto the track, all driving past different locations in the capital.
Well, it took 3 hours, but I'm pretty happy with it. I really wanted it to feel like a futuristic landmark, something that could really exist in a moon civilization. I think all this neon makes it look especially good at night.
It looks crazy good. I think you might have won the build battle. Thank you so much for helping out.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
I feel like there should really be a plaza or something here to really frame Shovel's tower. So I've reached out to my go-to fountain guy to hop online and help out.
It's me. It is I, the fountain guy. Is that what I am to you now? The fountain guy?
While Mogswamp builds his fountain, I'm just going to work on building a plaza around it. I definitely have the easy job, but I need some time to relax, so it works out. I'm really just procrastinating right now. This plaza area is going to be so cool. I think it's definitely going to be a highlight of the entertainment zone. This is definitely one of my favorite fountains that you've ever made.
Dude, this actually looks so dope.
Shovel said the tower looked best at night, so let's check it out with the fountain.
Wow, this looks so good, man.
That is actually insane.
Oh, this actually looks so dope. And with the tower too.
And the glowing fountain just works so well.
Dude, this whole area looks awesome now.
Another awesome area though is the nature zone. The builders have completely finished it. There are so many biopods now, all filled with various plants and flowers. My favorite is definitely the big one at the back. Also in this zone is the Earth Museum, a museum filled with facts and relics from Earth. My friend Emchmu built this with her friends, and she stayed online to give us a VIP tour.
Hi, it's Emchmu, and welcome to the museum. Enter into a grand hall and discover the magic of Earth. Be sure to learn about stages of tree growth in an exhibit created by ETAT, who also designed the incredible poster on the front of this very building. If you're more interested in the magic of Earth's oceans, don't worry, an aquarium exists where the wonders of the world, carefully curated by Creamsicle, are on display for all to see. Continue exploring the museum and you'll find many different tree types, as well as a genuine family home from life before space civilization. Finish your adventure in the relaxing rooftop garden filled with flowers, trees, and a waterfall replica. It's just like being on Earth.
I'm feeling pretty calm now. Not just because of the museum, but because things are finally starting to look finished. Most of the zones on the map are now done, including the residential zones. Residential Zone 2 looks quite open and sparse, with a mix of towers and apartments. Most people would never get to enter this zone. Zone 1 on the other hand looks so luxurious, covered in modern mansions only for the richest to live in. I especially love these metal trees that are all around it to help simulate Earth. If you compare this to how dense Zone 3 is, you can really sense how much poverty there'd be on this moon civilization. To help pad out the map a bit, each zone has been cloned once across the map. Going back to our why of the civilization, I think it makes sense that construction plans would be reused to build the civilization as quickly as possible. And it's the only way that we might be able to finish in the time limit. Also cloned around the map are these gas stations, built by my friend Leonard. They're all located on the slip roads which connect the highway to the main grid. They add so much character. In the middle of all of the residential zones, you may have noticed this giant red X. I've been saving this spot as I want to build an emergency services tower here. What's really unique is that this structure isn't in any of the zones. Instead, it's just built in the most accessible area for the housing districts to access. The idea is that the police force, firefighters and hospital would all be located here, in one big tower, rather than being split into separate buildings. I'm starting off by building the base, which will be a huge car park. The actual skyscraper will then be built on top of this. I've just realized that we've only got 90 minutes left, which means the builders will be going in 30 minutes, as they're not paid for the last hour. I'm gonna go check on the capital and then come back to this building later on. This is looking amazing. I genuinely didn't expect it to look this good. It's starting to really feel real. I'm very worried about time though. Areas like these strips of skyscrapers will make or break the capital. They need to be here. We're really gonna have to push if we want to get this done on time. Everyone who's still here, this is the final stretch. Let's give it everything we've got because if we finish this, it's going to be a record-breaking build. Let's do this. Watching the last buildings get put into place is almost kind of emotional. It's been such a tiring journey. The builders are staying online overtime to ensure we get this done. Because we overran, I don't have time to build an IKEA, or to place any of the vehicles. But I don't think that matters. I just want to finish the tower that I started. Because honestly, I think that's enough.
This is the coolest thing I ever built.
I'm so tired, but I think it was worth it. This time yesterday, we had an empty moon, and now there's an entire civilization. To thank you for watching, I've posted the world download for free in my Discord. There's a link to join in the pinned comment. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I spent so long on this, and I'm finally getting close to 100k, so it would mean the world. Have a nice day. Goodbye.